Today we are going to read Chapter 5 of Freckle Juice, which is our last chapter in this story. Before we begin reading Chapter 5, let's recap what happened in Chapters 1 through 4. So, Andrew Marcus, our main character, wanted freckles. Nicky Lane in his class had freckles, and Andrew thought that would be a great way to hide if he didn't wash his face and neck very good. His mom wouldn't be able to notice. So he asked Nicky about his own freckles, and Nicky said he was born with them. But his friend Sharon, who really isn't his friend, but she is in his class, and he kind of can't stand her because she thinks she knows everything, offered him a secret recipe for freckle juice. She told him this freckle juice would give him freckles, but it was going to cost him 50 cents. Andrew ended up buying the freckle juice recipe, and he came home and made it. It did not taste very good. It was made with onion and olive oil and wine vinegar and lemon juice, and it was pretty gross. There was a bunch of other ingredients in there. So Andrew did drink it, and he felt really sick from it. He ended up getting really sick to his stomach, so he stayed home from school the next day. And we left Chapter 4 with him eating his breakfast. He had no freckles. The freckle juice did not work. And he wanted to be able to find a way to get freckles before he got to school. And he was going to come up with something because he did not want Sharon to think she was right. So let's read Chapter 5 to see what he does. After breakfast, Andrew raced back to his bedroom. He opened his desk drawer and looked for a brown magic marker. All he could find was a blue one. It was getting late. Blue would have to do. He put the magic marker in his lunchbox and headed for school. He stopped 2 blocks before he got there. He studied his reflection in a car window. Okay, let's look at the word reflection. Reflection is the image looking back at you. Like if you look in the mirror, you see yourself, that's your reflection. And here is Andrew's reflection in the car window there. And you can see he's putting these dots on himself. Then he took out the magic marker and decorated his whole face and neck with blue dots. Okay, so even though it's hard to tell in the picture because it's black and white, all these dots on his face are blue. Maybe they didn't look like Nicky Lane's freckles, but they sure look like something. Andrew waited until the second bell rang. Then he hurried to his class and sat down. He took out a book and tried to read it. He heard a lot of whispering, but he didn't look up. Miss Kelly snapped her fingers. "Let's settle down, children." "Stop chattering." Everybody giggled. "What's so funny? Just what is so funny? Lisa, can you tell me the joke?" Lisa stood up. "It's Andrew, Miss Kelly. Just look at Andrew Marcus." "Stand up, Andrew. Let me have a look at you," Miss Kelly said. Andrew stood up. "Good heavens, Andrew. What have you done to yourself?" "I grew freckles, Miss Kelly. That's what." Andrew knew his blue dots looked silly, but he didn't care. He turned toward Sharon and stuck out his tongue. Sharon made a frog face at him. Miss Kelly took a deep breath. "I see," she said. "You may sit down now, Andrew. Let's get on with our morning work." At recess, Nicky Lane turned around and said, "Who ever heard of blue freckles?" Andrew didn't answer him. He sat in class all day with his blue freckles. A couple of times, Miss Kelly looked at him kind of funny, but she didn't say anything. Then at 2 o'clock, she called him to her desk. "Andrew," Miss Kelly said, "how would you like to use my secret formula for removing freckles?" Her voice was low, but not so low that the class couldn't hear. "For free?" Andrew asked. "Oh, yes," Miss Kelly said, "for free." Andrew scratched his head and thought it over. Before we move on, I want to look at the word formula. Formula is like a recipe. It's a list of ingredients for something. So it's very similar to a recipe. It's a synonym. Miss Kelly took a small package out of her desk. She handed it to Andrew. "Now don't open this until you get to the boys' room. Remember, it's a secret formula, okay?" "Okay," Andrew said. He wanted to run to the boys' room, but he knew the rules. No running in the halls. So he walked as fast as he could. He couldn't wait to see what was in the package. Could there really be such a thing as freckle remover? As soon as he was inside the boys' room, he unwrapped the package. There was a note. Andrew read it. It said, "Turn on water, wet magic freckle remover, and rub into face. Rinse. If magic freckle remover does not work, first time, try again. 3 times should do the job. Miss Kelly." Ha! Miss Kelly knew. She knew all the time. She knew his freckles weren't really freckles, but she didn't tell. Andrew followed Miss Kelly's directions. The magic freckle remover formula smelled like lemons. Andrew had to use it 4 times to get his freckles off. Then he wrapped it up and walked back to his classroom. Miss Kelly smiled. "Well, Andrew, I see it worked." "Yes, Miss Kelly, it sure did." "You look fine now, Andrew. You know, I think you're a very handsome boy without freckles." "You do?" "Yes, I do." Miss Kelly, Nicky Lane called out, raising his hand and waving it all around. "What is it, Nicky?" Miss Kelly asked. "Could I use your magic freckle remover? Could I, Miss Kelly? I hate my freckles. I hate every single one of them." Andrew couldn't believe it. How could Nicky hate his freckles? They were so neat. "Nicky," Miss Kelly said, "Andrew didn't look good with freckles, but you look wonderful. I'd hate to see you without them. They're part of you. So I'm going to put away this magic formula. I hope I never have to use it again." Well, Andrew thought, she'd never have to use it on him. He was through with freckles. When the class lined up to go home, Andrew heard Sharon whisper to Nicky, "I know how to get rid of them." "Get rid of what?" Nicky asked. "Your freckles." "You do?" "Sure. The secret recipe for removing freckles has been in my family for years. That's how come none of us have any. I'll sell it to you for 50 cents. Then Sharon walked up alongside Andrew. Before Andrew could say a word, Sharon made a super-duper frog face just for him. Okay, so we talked about the setting, the characters, the problem and solution during each chapter. Okay, our characters have been pretty consistent throughout the whole chapter. The whole book, I mean. Whoops. There we go. So we had Andrew, who was our main character. Sharon. Nicky. Miss Kelly. And Andrew's mom. Those are our 5 main characters. We had 2 settings throughout the book. We had school and Andrew's house. Now, our one main problem throughout this whole story was that Andrew wanted freckles. So Andrew wanted freckles was the problem. Now, he tried some solutions. He tried the secret recipe from Sharon. That didn't work. Then he used a blue magic marker, but that didn't really work either because everyone was laughing at him. So the solution is Andrew realized he did not need freckles. And I'm going to run out of room, I'm sorry. He did not need freckles. I'm trying to squeeze it in. Andrew didn't need freckles. His teacher told him he looked good without freckles, and he realized it wasn't really necessary. So his solution was he realized he just did not need freckles. He tried some different things, but it never really worked out, and he really realized that the freckles were not necessary. So that's how he solved his problem. I hope you enjoyed this chapter book, and hopefully we could read a new one in the next week.